There is something happening right now, in this very moment, that you may not fully understand yet. Something quiet, something gentle, something so subtle that it moves beneath the surface of your everyday life like a current beneath still water. And yet, it is real, it is powerful, and it is meant specifically for you. You did not find this message by accident. You did not stumble here randomly, pulled by some algorithm or idle curiosity. No, the angels brought you here. They guided your eyes, your hands, your heart to this exact moment, to these exact words, because there is something they need you to hear, something they have been trying to tell you for a long time. And today, finally, the timing is right. They are coming back to you. Read those words again. Let them land somewhere deep inside you. Because this is not just a phrase, and this is not just a promise. This is a confirmation, a divine confirmation, spoken through the language of the universe itself, carried to you on the wings of beings of light who have never stopped watching over you, who have never stopped believing in you, even when you stopped believing in yourself. And I know that you have been waiting. Maybe you have been waiting for a long time. Maybe you have been waiting so long that the waiting itself started to feel like the answer. Like maybe the silence was the universe's way of saying no. Maybe the distance was permanent. Maybe the door was closed forever. And slowly, without even realizing it, you began to grieve something that was still alive. You began to mourn a connection that had not ended, only paused, only stretched thin by time and circumstance and the mysterious, sacred unfolding of divine timing. But the angels are here today to tell you something different. They are here to pull back the curtain just enough for you to see what has been happening behind the scenes. And what you will discover in the next few minutes is going to change the way you see everything: the waiting, the silence, the distance, the longing, all of it. Every single piece of it is going to look completely different when you understand what the angels are confirming for you right now. So take a breath, a real one. Let your shoulders drop. Let your chest open. Let yourself arrive here fully, because this message has been waiting for you just as long as you have been waiting for what you've lost. Let's start at the beginning. Not the beginning of your story, because your story started long before this lifetime, but the beginning of this particular chapter. The chapter that brought you to this moment of longing. Something left your life. Or someone. And when it happened, when they left, when the relationship shifted, when the connection broke, when the door seemed to close, something inside you broke too. Not your spirit, not permanently, but something tender and real cracked open inside your chest, and the world looked different afterward. Colors were a little less bright. Mornings were a little harder. There were moments when you'd catch yourself thinking about it, without even meaning to. A song, a smell, a certain quality of afternoon light, and suddenly the ache was back, fresh and heavy and real. You tried to move on, and in many ways you did. You kept going. You kept showing up. You kept building your life, taking care of the people around you, putting one foot in front of the other. And that strength, that quiet, steady, often invisible strength, did not go unnoticed. The angels saw it. Every single day they watched you choose to keep going, and every single day they loved you more for it. But underneath the forward motion, underneath the routine and the responsibilities and the brave face you wore for the world, there was still that quiet place inside you that held on, that kept a candle burning, that whispered, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes in the space between waking and sleeping, what if? What if things could change? What if there's still a chance? What if the story isn't over? And here's what I want you to know, with everything I am. That whisper was not your weakness. It was not your imagination running away with you. It was not naivety or denial or foolishness. That whisper was a signal. It was a thread of divine knowing planted in your soul by the same angels who are speaking to you right now. A thread that kept pulling you back, again and again, to the truth that this was not finished, that there was more, that the timing was not yet right, but the timing was coming. And now it is here. There is a concept that the angels speak of constantly, one that we as human beings struggle to fully grasp because we live inside of time. We experience time as linear, past behind us, future ahead, and only this sliver of present to stand on. And because of that, when things don't happen on our schedule, we interpret the delay as a denial. We read silence as rejection. We feel distance as abandonment. But the angels exist outside of time. They see not just this moment, not just this year of your life, but the full arc of your soul's journey, where you came from, where you are, and where you are headed. And from that vantage point, they can see something that you cannot see from where you are standing. They can see the fullness of the story. They can see how every piece connects. They can see why the timing had to be what it was. And what they are telling you, what they are confirming with such urgency and such love today, is that the timing that had to unfold has been unfolding. The preparation that needed to happen has been happening. The changes that needed to occur, both in you and in the situation you have been waiting for, have been occurring. The ground has been shifting beneath the surface in ways that your eyes could not see and your hands could not touch, but that were absolutely real, absolutely purposeful, and absolutely leading to this moment. Think about a seed planted in winter ground. You cannot see it. You press your hand to the cold earth and you feel nothing, just stillness, just cold, just the hard surface of a frozen season. And if you judge only by what your senses can detect, you might conclude that nothing is happening. You might walk away. You might decide the seed was never there, or that it died, or that the ground was never fertile enough to begin with. But beneath that frozen surface, something extraordinary is happening. The seed is being held. It is being prepared. It is being slowly, carefully, lovingly guided through the process that will eventually bring it up through the soil and into the light. And when spring comes, when the conditions are finally right, it does not emerge slowly or apologetically. It bursts through. It reaches toward the sun. It blooms with a fullness and a beauty that the cold winter ground gave absolutely no hint of. That is your story. That is what the angels are showing you today. What felt like frozen ground, the silence, the waiting, the unanswered prayers, was never emptiness. It was preparation. I want to speak to you now about the person or the situation that has been living in your heart throughout this waiting season. Because I believe you know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It's been with you since before you clicked on this video, since before you woke up this morning, since long before you could fully put it into words. Maybe it is a person, a relationship that ended, or a connection that grew distant, or someone you love who has been pulled away from you by life's circumstances, by misunderstanding, by fear, by timing, by the complicated nature of two human hearts trying to find their way to each other through all the noise and confusion and old wounds that life accumulates. Maybe you loved them deeply, and you still do, and the love didn't go anywhere even when they did. Maybe you have wondered more times than you can count whether they think about you too, whether they feel what you feel, whether somewhere, in some quiet moment of their own, they are missing you the way you have been missing them. The angels want you to know. They do, not because it is convenient for your heart to hear that, not because it is what you want to believe, but because it is the truth. Because love, real love, the kind that is woven into the fabric of two souls across time and space, does not simply disappear when people separate. It transmutes. It changes form. It goes underground, sometimes, when the conditions on the surface make it too painful or too complicated to express openly. But it does not die. And the person you have been carrying in your heart, whether they know it or not, whether they have found words for it or not, has been carrying you too. And the universe has been working on both of you at the same time, in parallel. Like two musicians in different rooms, learning different parts of the same song, being guided by the same invisible conductor toward the moment when they will finally play together. And when they do, it will be more beautiful, more resonant, more perfectly harmonized than it ever could have been if the separation had not happened. That is what the angels are confirming, not just that they are coming back, but that the time apart was not wasted. It was sacred, it was necessary, and it was doing exactly what it needed to do. But I also want to speak to you about something deeper, because this message is not only about another person, it is also about you, about what is coming back to you, not just from outside, but from within yourself. Because here is what the angels have noticed, and here is what they want to address with the most tender and fierce love they are capable of. In the process of waiting, in the process of missing and longing and hoping and grieving, something happened to you. Something in you began to doubt, not just about the situation, about yourself, about your worth, about whether you deserved what you were waiting for, about whether you were enough or lovable enough or whole enough to receive what your heart was asking for. And I want to stop here, And I want to say this clearly and firmly and with the full authority of the divine love that is present in this moment. Those doubts were lies. Every single one of them. Lies that grew in the silence, in the dark, in the space where uncertainty lives. Lies that sounded so much like your own voice that you started to believe they were your thoughts, your truth, your reality. They were not. They are not. The angels do not see someone unworthy. They do not see someone broken or incomplete or not enough. They see someone who has been through something genuinely difficult, who has carried something heavy for a long time, who has loved bravely and waited faithfully and held on with a grace and a strength that is, honestly, breathtaking to witness. They see someone who has been in the fire and has not been consumed by it but has been refined by it. Someone who is coming out of this season not diminished but deepened, not emptied but expanded, not less, so much more. And what is coming back to you, among all the things that are returning, is this: the fullness of yourself. The parts of you that went quiet during the waiting, the joy that got buried under the weight of missing someone, the lightness that got heavy under the pressure of wondering and worrying, the confidence that got shaky in the silence, the knowing, your own deep cellular knowing, that you are loved, that you are worthy, that you are seen, and that your life is absolutely saturated with divine purpose and divine presence, even in the moments that feel most empty. That is coming back. The angels are bringing it back. And in many ways, this is the most important return of all, because everything else that comes back into your life will only be able to stay and will only be able to flourish when you are standing in the full truth of who you are. Now, I want to tell you about the signs, because the angels do not just speak in feelings and whispers, they speak in signs. And if you have been paying attention, even a little, you have already been seeing them. You may have dismissed them as coincidences. You may have wanted to believe in them, but talked yourself out of it, afraid of reading too much into things, afraid of getting your hopes up only to be disappointed. But I am asking you today to look back, to remember, to let yourself see what has actually been happening around you. Have you been waking up at specific times, 1:11, 2:22, 3:33, 4:44? These are not random. Angel numbers are one of the primary ways that our guardians communicate with us, encoding messages of alignment and confirmation into the numerical patterns that appear at exactly the right moment for exactly the right person. When you see repeating numbers, the angels are saying, "We are here, we are with you. Pay attention, something is aligning." And if you have been seeing these numbers frequently in recent weeks, it is no accident. It is a trail of breadcrumbs, lovingly placed, pointing you toward this confirmation. Have you been seeing feathers in unexpected places? White feathers, especially, are among the most ancient and universal signs of angelic presence. When a white feather appears in your path with no obvious explanation, floating down from a clear sky, resting on your doorstep, appearing in a room where no feather should logically be, it is the angel's way of whispering, "I am here. You are not alone. The door has not closed." Have you been dreaming about them? About the person or the situation you have been waiting for? Dreams are one of the most direct channels through which the angels and the spiritual realm communicate with the human heart. Because while we sleep, the resistance of the logical mind drops away and the soul can receive what it most needs to hear. If you have been dreaming about this person, seeing their face, feeling their presence, those dreams are not just wishful thinking. They are messages. They are the angels showing you the energy that is moving, the connection that is still alive, the thread that has never broken. Have you felt a sudden, inexplicable sense of peace? A moment, unexpected, unprovoked, where the heaviness lifted and something in you just knew that everything was going to be okay. Where you couldn't explain it rationally, but the certainty was there, quiet and steady and real. That peace is not naive. It is not denial. It is a direct transmission from your angels, planting in your heart the knowing of what they can see from where they stand, the fullness of what is coming. These signs, all of them, they have been building toward this moment. They have been the angel's way of preparing you, of saying, "Not yet, not yet, not yet," and then, now. Now is when we tell you. Now is when the confirmation comes. Now is when you receive the message you have been waiting for. I want to take a moment here and just be present with you. I want to speak to the version of you that showed up today a little tired, a little worn down from the waiting. Maybe you woke up this morning and the first thought that came into your mind was about them. about the situation, and the familiar weight of it settled onto your chest before you even got out of bed. Maybe you've had a string of hard days recently. Maybe you prayed last night and the silence felt heavier than usual, like your words were disappearing into an empty sky. I see you. The angels see you. And I want you to know that the difficulty of this season has not been a sign of divine abandonment. It has been a sign of divine preparation. The most profound spiritual breakthroughs almost always come on the other side of the deepest darkness. The most stunning dawns follow the longest nights. And if the night has felt especially long and especially dark lately, it is often because the dawn is closer than you think. There is a reason the angels chose today to send you this confirmation. There is a reason this message found you at this particular point in your journey. You are not at the beginning of the waiting. You are at the end of it. You are not in the depths of the winter. You are in the final, cold, quiet days before the thaw. And what feels like the hardest stretch of the road, that last push before the destination comes into view, is not the universe prolonging your suffering. It is the universe bringing you all the way home. Hold on. Not desperately, not with white-knuckled fear, but with the quiet confidence of someone who has received a message from the divine. Hold on the way you hold a warm cup of tea on a cold morning. Gently, gratefully, knowing that the warmth is real, because they are coming back, and the timing the angels are confirming today is not far away. It is close, closer than your most hopeful thought and closer than your most anxious fear. It is in the unfolding. It is already in motion. And the life you have been building, the person you have been becoming, the love you have been holding, all of it is about to come into alignment in a way that will make you understand, finally and completely, why it had to happen exactly like this. There is something the angels want to show you now. Something that requires you to shift your perspective just slightly. Not dramatically, not in a way that asks you to abandon everything you feel or everything you have been holding on to, but a shift that will allow you to see the landscape of your life from a higher vantage point. The kind of vantage point that the angels hold naturally, effortlessly, because they are not limited by the walls of time and circumstance the way we are. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in the middle of a vast and intricate tapestry. You are so close to it that all you can see are individual threads, some of them bright and beautiful, some of them dark and rough, some of them tangled in ways that make no sense to you. From where you stand, it looks chaotic. It looks incomplete. Some sections look broken. Some areas look like they were simply abandoned, left unfinished, the threads hanging loose with no apparent purpose. But now imagine stepping back, far enough that you can see the whole tapestry at once. Its full width, its full height, the entirety of the design that has been forming all along. And what you discover in that moment takes your breath away, because every dark thread was necessary. Every tangle was intentional. Every section that looked abandoned from the inside was being carefully worked on from the other side. And the picture, the full, complete, breathtaking picture, is of something so magnificent, so precise, so achingly beautiful that you cannot believe you ever doubted the hand that was weaving it. That tapestry is your life, and the angels are the ones who can see it whole. And what they see, looking at the full design of your story, is not chaos and abandonment and broken threads. What they see is a masterwork. What they see is a love story still in the making. What they see is a return that is written into the very fabric of what your soul came here to experience. They see you. They see them. They see the thread that connects you, running through the design like a golden cord, unbroken, luminous, alive. And they are asking you today to trust that golden cord, to stop pulling at it anxiously, afraid it will snap, to stop measuring it, checking it, doubting its strength, because it is stronger than anything the world has thrown at it. It has survived the distance and the silence and the doubt and the fear, and it is still there, still shining, still holding. Now, the angels want to speak to you about something that may surprise you, because this message is not only about waiting for someone to return, and it is not only about the return of joy and wholeness within yourself. It is also about action, about the kind of sacred, aligned action that divine timing calls you toward. There is a misconception that is common among those who walk a spiritual path, and it is this, that trusting the universe, trusting the angels, trusting divine timing means becoming passive, means sitting still and waiting for things to fall from the sky, means withdrawing from the active, living, breathing, daily participation in your own story and handing everything over to forces you cannot see or control. But the angels want to correct that misconception today, firmly and lovingly, because it's been holding you back in ways you may not have fully recognized. Trusting divine timing does not mean becoming still. It means becoming intentional. It means aligning your actions with the frequency of what you are calling in. It means showing up, not desperately, not forcefully, not from a place of scarcity and fear, but confidently, openly, as the full and radiant version of yourself that knows, at the soul level, that what belongs to you is already moving toward you. What does this look like in practice? It looks like you choosing, today, to invest in your own joy, not as a distraction from the waiting, but as an act of spiritual alignment. It looks like you returning to the things that light you up, the creative pursuits, the friendships, the practices, the places that make you feel most alive and most like yourself. It looks like you releasing the story of the waiting and stepping back into the story of your life, your full, rich, purposeful, expansive life, as though the waiting is already over. Because in the realm of spirit, in the dimension where the angels operate, it is. The angels see the version of you who is already reunited, already whole, already living in the fullness of what you have been praying for. And they are asking you to start moving toward that version of yourself. Not because pretending makes things happen, but because alignment, the alignment of your energy with the truth of what is coming, is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. When you stop waiting from a place of lack and start moving from a place of knowing, you become a living magnet for the very thing you desire. So today, not tomorrow, not when things feel more certain, but today, do one thing that the future version of you would do. One thing that reflects the life you are stepping into rather than the grief of what has been absent. Plant something. Call someone who fills you up. Open a door that fear has been keeping closed. Say yes to something beautiful. Say yes to yourself. The angels also want to address something that has been quietly present in your heart throughout this whole journey, something you may not have let yourself fully look at because it feels almost too vulnerable to examine. It is the fear underneath the hope. The whisper that says, but what if I'm wrong? What if I've been reading the signs incorrectly? What if I want this so much that I'm seeing things that aren't really there? What if the return I've been praying for isn't the one the universe has planned? This fear is real, and it is human, and the angels do not ask you to pretend it isn't there. They do not ask you to perform certainty you don't feel. They only ask you to hold the fear and the hope at the same time, to acknowledge both without letting the fear win. Because here is the truth they want you to carry. Even if the return does not look exactly like the picture you have been holding in your mind, it will be more beautiful than that picture. Even if the timing unfolds differently than you expect, it will be more perfect than your expectations. Even if the form of what comes back surprises you, the love at the center of it, the love that has been driving this entire story, will be exactly what you have been waiting for. The angels are not promising you a specific outcome drawn to your exact specifications. They are promising you something better. They are promising you truth. They are promising you alignment. They are promising you that what belongs to you in this life, what is written in your soul's deepest knowing, will not pass you by. The universe is not careless with the things it places in your heart. If the longing is there, it is there for a reason. If the knowing is there, it is there for a reason. If the love is there, it is there for a reason. And the reason is always ultimately the same: growth, expansion, the deepening of your soul's capacity to love and be loved, to know and be known, to give and to receive, to stand in the fullness of who you are, and to allow another soul to stand in the fullness of who they are, and to meet at last in that sacred, undefended space where two whole people choose each other. That is what is coming. That wholeness, that meeting, that choice. I want to tell you a story. Not a parable, not a fairy tale, but the kind of story that is happening all around you all the time, in the lives of real people who have stood exactly where you are standing now, feeling exactly what you are feeling, and who came out on the other side of the waiting into something they had almost stopped believing was possible. There was a woman, and I think you will recognize pieces of yourself in her, who had loved someone deeply and then watched the connection fracture, slowly, painfully, the way ice cracks in a warming season. It didn't shatter all at once. It happened in stages, in silences, in the gradual withdrawal of someone she had thought would stay. And when they were finally gone, she did what so many people do. She blamed herself. She replayed every conversation, every decision, every moment where she might have said or done something different. She carried the weight of the loss like a stone in her chest, and she prayed, every night, without fail, for a sign that it wasn't over. The signs came. They always do. A feather on her doorstep on the morning she had decided to stop hoping, a dream so vivid and so warm that she woke up with tears on her face and a certainty in her chest that had no rational explanation. The song, their song, playing from a stranger's phone at exactly the moment she whispered their name into the silence of a parking lot, feeling utterly alone. She kept going. Not perfectly. There were days when the doubt swallowed her whole. Days when she was sure she had imagined everything. Days when she was furious at the universe for stringing her along. But she kept going. She invested in herself. She rebuilt the parts of her life that had gone quiet. She found, slowly and then all at once, that she was becoming someone she hadn't been before. Someone stronger, more rooted, more authentically herself than she had ever been, even before the loss. And then one ordinary Tuesday, not a significant date, not a day she had circled on the calendar, they reached out. A message that said simply, "I've been thinking about you. I think I made a mistake. Can we talk?" She didn't run to them frantically. She didn't collapse with relief or crumble with the weight of the answered prayer. She breathed, and she felt the steady warmth of a woman who had walked through fire and come out unburned. And she replied, "Yes, let's talk." What followed was not perfect. No reunion is. There were conversations that needed to happen, truths that needed to be spoken, wounds that needed to be acknowledged and tended. But underneath all of it was the golden thread, still shining, still holding, and both of them could feel it. And when they finally said the things they had needed to say for so long, there was a peace that settled between them like light after rain. A peace that said, "This is where we were always heading." The long way around was still the way home. I tell you this story not because your story will unfold in exactly the same way. It will unfold in the way that is perfect for you and your soul and the specific, beautiful complexity of your journey. I tell you this story because she almost gave up. She almost stopped holding the candle. She almost convinced herself that the signs were her own wishful thinking, that the prayers were disappearing into an empty sky, that the waiting was the universe's way of saying no. It wasn't no. It was not yet. And not yet is not the same as never. Not yet is just the universe finishing its preparation. The angels want to speak now about time itself, because one of the most painful parts of this journey, and they know this, they see this, they feel this with you, is not the uncertainty about what will happen. It is the uncertainty about when, the not knowing, the inability to see the calendar of the divine, to know how many more mornings you will wake up in this season of waiting before the season shifts. And here's what they want to say about that, with all the gentleness and all the honesty they are capable of. They cannot give you a date. They will not give you a number of days. Not because they are withholding information from you, and not because the timing is uncertain from where they stand, but because the moment they name a timeline, you will start counting down. You will start measuring each day against that deadline, and the counting will pull you out of the present, out of the aliveness and the expansion that this season is supposed to be cultivating in you, and back into the anxious watching and waiting that has already asked so much of you. What they can give you is this: the confirmation that it is soon, that the conditions are ripening, that the invisible preparation, the inner work, the soul growth, the energetic alignment is reaching completion in both you and in the situation you have been waiting for, that the gap between where you are and where you are going is not as vast as it has felt, that the light at the end of this particular tunnel is not a distant point on the horizon, but a glow you can already feel if you let yourself be still enough to feel it. And they want you to use the time that remains, however long or short it is, not in agonized waiting, but in joyful anticipation. There is a difference, and it is a profound one. Waiting that is rooted in fear contracts you, closes you, drains you. Anticipation that is rooted in faith expands you, opens you, prepares you to receive what is coming with the fullness of an open heart and an open life. The angels are asking you to make that shift, from waiting to anticipating, from bracing for disappointment to leaning into arrival, from surviving this season to thriving in it, knowing that you are exactly where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing, and that the universe's timing, mysterious and occasionally maddening as it is always, always, always in your favor. There are things the angels want you to release. Not people, not love, not hope, but the specific heavy things you have been carrying that do not belong to you anymore, that were never yours to carry in the first place, and that have been weighing down your wings in ways that make it harder to rise into the fullness of what is coming. Release the story that you are too late. The idea that the window has closed, that the moment has passed, that timing has moved against you in some permanent way. That story is not true. Divine timing does not operate on the calendar of human anxiety. There is no too late in the language of the soul. There is only now, and the always present possibility of now opening into something more. Refill the story that you are too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too deep feeling, too intense, too present with your own longing. Your capacity to feel deeply is not a flaw. It is a gift. It is the very thing that has made you capable of loving the way you love, of holding space the way you hold space, of waiting with the kind of faithful, tender constancy that most people can only aspire to. You are not too much. You are exactly right. And the person and the life that is coming toward you needs precisely this depth, precisely this capacity, precisely you realist the story that you have to earn what is coming, that you have to suffer enough, or wait long enough, or be good enough, or heal enough, or change enough before you deserve the return you have been praying for. Grace does not work on a merit system. Love does not require you to prove yourself worthy before it arrives. What is yours, not because you earned it through pain, but because it is aligned with the truth of your soul. You do not have to earn it. You only have to receive it and release, gently, compassionately, with great love for the version of yourself who needed it. The protection you built around your heart in the hardest moments of this waiting. The walls you put up because the vulnerability of hoping felt too dangerous. The guardedness that made sense when you were in the deepest pain, but that will now, in this season of return, need to soften just enough to let what is coming actually come in. You do not have to fling the doors open all at once. Just unlock them. Just let a little light in. Just allow yourself to believe, even partially, even tentatively, that what you have been waiting for is real and that you are safe to receive it. The angels are surrounding you right now. In this moment, as you read or listen to these words, they are here. Not figuratively, not metaphorically, but actually, genuinely, presently here. You may feel them as a warmth in your chest. You may feel them as a tingling in your hands or your arms. You may feel a sudden, inexplicable urge to cry, not from sadness, but from the release of finally being seen, finally being met, finally receiving the confirmation that your soul has been aching for. Let those tears come if they want to come. They are sacred. They are the body's way of processing divine love, which is always larger than what we are built to hold, and always finds its way out through the eyes. They want you to know your name. Not the name your parents gave you, though they know that too, but your soul's name. The name that describes what you are at the deepest level, beloved, held, chosen, worthy, seen, remembered. That is who you are to the angels. That is how you are known in the realm of light, and they want you to carry that knowing with you when you close this video and walk back into your day, back into the ordinariness of Tuesday morning or Sunday afternoon, back into the traffic and the grocery store and the notifications on your phone and the laundry that needs doing. Carry it the way you carry something precious, not hidden, not locked away, but close to your heart, warm from being held. There is one more thing. One final thing the angels want to say to you before this message closes, and it is perhaps the most important thing of all. They want you to know that this, all of this, every bit of it, has been a love story. Not just the story of a return, not just the story of a relationship or a connection coming back into your life, but the larger, deeper, more essential love story that has been running beneath everything. The love story between you and your own soul, between you and the divine, between you and the angels who have been with you every single step of this journey, who have held you in the nights when you felt most alone, who have whispered into your sleeping mind the reassurances your waking mind was too afraid to believe, who have placed every feather and every repeating number and every moment of inexplicable peace exactly where you needed to find it. You were never abandoned. not for a single second. In every moment of silence, they were there. In every moment of doubt, they were holding the light you could not hold for yourself. In every moment of grief, they were grieving with you, feeling every ache with the tenderness of beings who love you beyond the capacity of human language to describe. They have been your companions through this entire journey. They are your companions still. And they will be your companions on the other side of this waiting, in the joy and the fullness and the return that is already on its way. The thread between you and everything you love has never been cut. It has only been stretched, stretched long and thin and sometimes invisible, stretched across distance and time, and the mysterious sacred space of two souls preparing to meet again as better, truer, more whole versions of themselves. And now, the thread is shortening. The distance is closing. The preparation is complete. And what is coming toward you is coming with a speed and a beauty and a love that the waiting, as hard as it was always worth. So here's what the angels ask of you today. Not perfection, not fearlessness, not certainty you don't yet feel. They ask only this: believe just a little bit more than you did yesterday that you are loved. Believe just a little bit more than you did yesterday that the universe is working for you, not against you. That every twist and turn of this story has been guided by a wisdom and a love that is bigger than your mind can hold. Believe, just a little bit more than you did yesterday, that what your heart knows is true, actually is true, that the longing in you is a compass pointing towards something real, something aligned, something that is already in motion and already on its way. Wake up tomorrow and look for the signs, not anxiously, not desperately, but openly, curiously, the way a child looks for treasure, expecting to find something, delighted by each discovery, unafraid of the search. The signs will be there. They have always been there. They will keep coming, building on each other, leading you forward, confirming what the angels have already confirmed today, in this message that was not sent by accident and was not received by accident. Talk to them, your angels. You do not need special words, and you do not need to be in a holy place, and you do not need to have your life perfectly together before you approach them. They are not waiting for you to earn access. They are simply waiting for you to speak. Say it out loud or say it in the quiet of your mind. I hear you. I receive this. I trust what is coming. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for staying. Thank you for bringing them back. Thank you for bringing me back to myself. Let your life be the prayer. Let the way you treat yourself today be an act of faith. Let the kindness you extend to your own tired heart be an acknowledgement that you believe, at least a little, in what the angels are telling you. You deserve to be treated gently, by others, yes, but first and most importantly by yourself. You have been through something real. You have waited and hoped and carried something heavy for a long time. Honor that. Honor yourself for it. And then, slowly, gently, with the quiet confidence of someone who has just received a message from the divine, begin to set the weight down. You don't have to carry it anymore. The waiting is ending. The return is beginning. And the life on the other side of this moment, the life that is already being prepared, already being arranged, already being lovingly assembled by hands you cannot see but can absolutely feel, is more beautiful than anything you have let yourself fully imagine. They are coming back to you, not as a wish, not as a comfort, as a confirmation. The angels have spoken. The timing has been confirmed. The thread is golden and it is holding, and it is shortening the distance with every breath you take, every act of faith you choose. Every morning you rise and decide, one more time, to believe. You are loved, you are held, you are seen, and you are so, so close.